Hello, friends. My name is Gaurav Goyal. I'm a SEBI registered investment advisor. Today, I'm going to discuss about the upcoming Union Budget, which will be presented by Honorable Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman on 1st of February. This will be the first full budget for Modi 3.0. The previous budget was part 2 of the 24-25 budget. This was presented post election victory for NDA last year. The previous budget signaled continuity, there were no major announcements as such, and the focus was entirely on employment generation. This budget is likely to set tone as to how the new government functions over the remaining 4.5 years. Let us first paint the current economic scenario that India is witnessing as of now. The biggest trouble for India is the slowdown in the growth. The last year growth in GDP was 8.2%. This year, now we expect GDP to grow by a modest 6.5%, and it is well below the initial expected levels of more than 7%. The last quarter GDP growth was just about 5.5%, which was well below all expectations. Heart of this fall in GDP is the slowing demand, which is more chronic problem for the urban India. Employment continues to remain a huge challenge. Food inflation has been worrisome and at a sustained high level, though overall inflation is in control. Private capex has remained muted, particularly from the large corporates. Even slowdown in government capex was witnessed due to elections last year and delayed monsoon departure. Government capex is now estimated to be achieved only about 80 to 85% of the yearly targets. Global challenges remain unabated with wars, economic slowdowns, and changes in governments worldwide. US, which has been a global growth engine, is now headed by a mercurial and unpredictable President Donald Trump. While we have talked about the problems, we should also focus on some of the green shoots that we as a country have. Despite recent slowdowns, India remains one of the fastest big economies in the world. India and the current government has done a commendable job to contain deficits. The fiscal deficit target of 4.9% is expected to be met easily, and the next year target, which was earlier given at 4.5%, may be revised downwards. Revenue deficit is also well under control. India's macro fundamentals remain robust. Rural consumption and demand has improved significantly after a good monsoon. The agriculture output has been robust. Tax buoyancy has been extremely good. Budget numbers are likely to be exceeded here. Let us now focus on some of the key definitions that are usually talked about in the budget. Let us talk about them. First of all, revenue. Whatever government earns is revenue. Whatever government spends is expenditure. Revenue of government comes largely from the following sources. Income tax, which contributes almost 19% of government revenues. GST and other taxes, 18%. Corporation tax or corporate tax at 17%. Non-tax receipts at 7%. Government expenditure is done as per the following: interest payments at 20%, state shares of taxes and duties at 20%, central schemes at 16%, central sponsored schemes at 8%, finance commission and other transfers at 8%, defense 8%, subsidies 6%, and pension 4%. The difference between revenue and expenditure is known as deficit. This is financed from borrowings, and government has to pay interest on this borrowing. So let us look at some of the numbers as per the revised budget FY 24-25. Total expenditure for Government of India was estimated at 48 lakhs 20,512 crores. Capital expenditure out of this total expenditure, or what we commonly call as capex, was 11 lakh 11,111 crores. Revenue expenditure was at 37 lakhs 9,401 crores. Total revenue was pegged at 32 lakhs 7,000 crores. Total revenue number did not include the transfer to states, which was additional. Fiscal deficit was projected at 4.9% of GDP at 16 lakh 13,312 crores. So what do we expect in the upcoming budget? We expect increased capex or capital expenditure. Capex has, as we all know, one of the highest multiplier effect, and increased spending on capex is generally considered good for the economy. We expect 10% increase in capital outlay for capex, plus there could be some deficiency in meeting numbers for the current year, which could be included in the budget estimates for the next year. Focus on more money in the hands of the common man who has been suffering from variety of factors. We expect no tax limit to increase to 10 lakhs under the new tax regime. And rationalization of tax bands on the lower side could happen. Corporate tax could be lowered as well, and 15% concession rates for new manufacturing units could be reintroduced. Old tax regime may get scrapped. As a result, Section 80C benefits will no longer exist. Focus on employment generation will remain with launches of new schemes in this direction. Employment generating sectors like textiles, manufacturing, automobile could be rewarded. MSME sector incentive coverage will be widened. Government has put in a target of 500 gigawatt for renewable energy and is well on course to achieve this. However, government could give additional incentives in this area. Wastewater, recycling, scrapping, semiconductor industry, artificial intelligence industry could be provided additional allocations in the budget. Defense, railways, power sector, and affordable housing will remain important areas, and there could be increased outlays for these sectors. FDI limit in insurance will increase from 74% to 100%. Commitment to reduce GST on health and life insurance from 18% to 5% is on the cards. Currently, there is a 2 lakh rupee tax exemption allowed under Section 24B on interest paid on home loans. We expect this number to increase to 3 lakhs. In conclusion, we expect an Aam Aadmi focused budget this year, as common man is suffering and spending power of this man has reduced significantly. He is under pressure from inflation and slowing economy. Government will try to put more money in his hands through tax cuts and will endeavor to generate employment opportunities. Increased government capex will shore up economic growth. Sectors likely to benefit through this budget are banking, consumption, insurance, new age, defense, infrastructure, housing, and railways. We expect the upcoming budget to be overall positive and progressive for both industry as well as the citizen of the country. Thank you.